went from ruining like countertops to ruining couches because I was like literally making lipstick not only in my kitchen but also in my living room. The Lip Bar is a vegan, cruelty-free, and sustainable cosmetic company. I started the Lip Bar in 2012 making lipstick in my kitchen. Everyone thinks it's crazy that I made lipstick in my kitchen. Even my mom thought it was crazy. I was working on Wall Street and I was really frustrated with the beauty industry. I hated the excessive amounts of chemicals, I hated the lack of diversity, but I am passionate about challenging that beauty standard. So the reason I started the Lip Bar was always out of that frustration and feeling this need. So I literally launched with like purple and blue and green and yellow lipsticks that you've never seen before because I was really trying to prove a point. When I moved back to Detroit, the Lip Bar was still a very small company, but my expenses were a lot smaller. I moved back with my mom, and so people always talk about millennials and living at home with your parents. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't let them make you feel ashamed about it. So I decided to pitch to Target, and I literally pitched to Target in a blind email. So I didn't have the contact. I didn't know how to pitch to them, but I knew that my product would work there, and I knew that they needed my consumer. So it's one thing to have a really cool product, but it's another thing to say, hey, I can bring you a new audience. So you always want to think about business from the perspective of this needs to be a mutually beneficial relationship. And so that's how I pitched the buyer at Target. And she's like, wait, this sounds great, send me samples. And I knew that when I sent her samples that I would have her hooked because our packaging is really cool. When we went on Shark Tank, they told us that we essentially would never get market share, and they told us that if the larger companies wanted to create these colorful lipsticks, they would just do it, but they don't want to do it because there's no market share. Not everyone who goes on Shark Tank gets aired, and so this is free marketing. So I had to reposition my thoughts in that moment. I had to reposition that anger and really use it to drive this idea that, okay, Melissa, this is a great opportunity to get in front of 7 million people. Do you know how much people would pay for 7 million views? And it's so funny because, 4 years later, you're seeing the big guys like, MAC and Maybelline creating these out-of-the-box shades. But it really goes back to the idea of when you're small, you really have to use that to your benefit and be nimble and do things that the larger company can't do. But they told us that we would never amount to anything and we would never grow. And now we're, in several hundred Target stores and growing. It's been an incredible journey. I think building a team is the most important thing that you can do. And not just like people who are smart, but people who really believe in your brand and people who believe in your vision. And that's everyone from people who are on your team or even investors for your business, because if they don't believe in your journey, if they don't believe in the work that you're doing, it'll quickly become about profits. And you can't always chase profits.